Okay, follow my little dog. He wanted to cuddle, so I thought I might as well do a video. While I'm giving you a little bit of a cuddle. Look, I wish people have ever listened to me. Ask me some questions and I'll answer you truthfully because I'm telling you now, um, I would never listen to a word out of my mother and her sisters. I've heard the bullshit my entire life, so I stay well away from them, and their daughters are exactly alike. Um, my mother, the shit like Faith Rackley is from my mother's second husband. I can't stand her. Seriously, the she's just grown up to be okay. Number one, she's a liar like Carol, and she's a liar and a scammer and a cheat and a thief, and just a rotten, disgusting drug user, drunk, deadbeat like her father, Mark Rackley. I'm not related. Um, and hangs around with low life scumbags of people. So they're just scummy, scamming people. I mean, in the last 8 years, I've had these people dragged into my life because of some bullshit lie that was said in December 2015. And I said, yeah, that's not true. That's a bullshit lie. You've misinterpreted something. So can you listen to me? People, if you don't listen to the person themselves, then you're going to get wrong information. And if you cause damage based from the wrong information you have, then if you read through the legal system, you're liable for that damage. I have been saying since 2015 that there was wrong information. And I end up having it damaged in two countries. I had stories made up. People were making up stories why I was moving to America. I kid you not. It was one thing after another. I was like, because I've went for the process to get a green card to America, started it back in 2011. So I actually started the green card process back in 2011. And mind you, I was in America in 2001. And I always said this is where I was going to work towards. So I did work towards it. Um, I worked towards my green card to America, and I did that. And I started the application in 2011. I had it submitted in 2012. It was 2 years to go through, and I had my interview in August. I think it was the 18th of August from memory. It's a pretty important date to me because it's a very important thing that I was set my life on doing. And that was, I'm sure it was the 18th of August 2014. It was August 2014. It could be the 18th. My interview at the MLC building, at the US consulate there. So I already had the green card. And this is why I say these women, they're just scamming, lying women. It's like, well, I've got a green card to America. That's why I'm moving. I'm only like, when I accepted the green card, I was like, okay, what do I want to achieve in Sydney before I move permanently to America? Well, I always said I want to do that art exhibition because I've studied art. I want to do that. I also got to close off things with my work cover because I was mugged on my way home from work. So I was on part salary payment until December 2017 to recover. So I thought I might as well just get everything out of the way before I move. So I've got the green card now. Let's focus on where I want to be. I've got my savings, got my assets, got my belongings. Just need to focus on what I'm going to do in Sydney first before I move, and then where I want to be. And I already knew where I was wanted to live in the States because I've already looked around. So it was about me just staying security in Sydney until I was ready to pack up and move permanently to America. And I wasn't coming back. I'm a permanent resident. That's why I accepted the green card. So that's what I was trying to do. But ever since I wrote a lot about it in December 2015, actually, I think one of the first ones might have been around October 2015. It was just ridiculous crap going on. Um, it was getting issues deliberately caused in my life that was costing me damages. And I continuously said, this is why I say my family lie. Not sorry, no, let me correct that. The women of my family lie, and I honestly believe, I would never believe what women say because I've watched women in my family. It's like, oh my god, lying. You're lying again. Can you please, Carol, say a full sentence without lying? They just lie. I guess that's why in the Quran in Islam it actually says a female's statement is worth half of a man's because women do lie, and then women have issues each month as well, which cause them to be neurotic and unreliable. I don't believe. a lot of women like I look at it and think, let's look at the situation here, and I think more and more in the world people start realizing, going, oh, I think we've just put too much faith in that. So anyway, and here's the reason being, December 2015 I called my mother, which I'm not close to, and I rang her and said, I've just been lied about, and I'm not being believed. But I said, you've actually misinterpreted that situation. You've really misinterpreted it. And I'm not going to go into detail, but you misinterpreted this situation. And I explained to my mother the lie that was said to me. The lie that was said about me. Because I rang, I said, I've never been suicidal. I've never threatened suicide. I've never even attempted. They misinterpreted the situation. My meditation area, where I go and meditate. Anyway, and Carol was told the truth, but she went back. She was told the truth by me, and what was being said about me that wasn't true. And I asked her to help have the truth told. She didn't, but she went a step further, and she then went ahead and repeated the lie about me to see if she could scam from it. So she went ahead to try and scam, and she did. She went and tried to scam and benefit and gain, and she didn't stop. And that made me stand up and think, hang on a minute. Let's go back to 2013, when the first time I've ever heard a comment made was in 2013, and I've never heard anything about this before in my life. And I thought, wait a minute. I've always stood up to my mother and had nothing to do with her. Okay, so I left my mother's family, basically. It was always close to my grandparents, sure, but nothing to do with her and her sisters from a teenager. So I got away. My twin sister Amanda didn't. And Amanda has been kept in a bubble created by Carol and her sister Marianne, basically. She's kept in a bubble. So she doesn't even know who she's related to, Amanda. She even socializes with the friends that are my mother's and my mother's sister's friends. I won't. I don't have anything to do with them. So I distance myself from it. Amanda is so much in a bubble, and she used to be so petrified of Carol that she wouldn't even correct people if they called her by the wrong name. So I did. For example, my mother had two husbands. We're from the first husband, Mark Fleming, who's a lovely man. He's a builder, my dad. Very beautiful man. My mother's second husband is Mark Rackley. Two different people. Mark Rackley is a very disgusting lowlife, like all of his children. So Mark Rackley's children, which is Faith Rackley, Daniel Rackley, Belinda Rackley, Michelle Rackley, Kimberly Rackley, they are just lowlifes of people. They're disgusting. They're disgusting people. Faith's not much different to her father. Now, so after my mother moved from Sydney, if anyone accidentally, because my mother had a different last name, she only just remarried before she moved from Sydney. So if someone ever looked at, say I was with my mother Carol, and they saw that, oh, hang on, that's Carol Rackley, because her maiden name's Purdy. Her first husband's Fleming, so it was Carol Purdy, Carol Fleming, Carol Rackley. Now she's gone back to Purdy. And they looked at it and thought, oh, well, that's Carol Rackley. His last name must be Rackley then. And they said, oh, Justin Rackley. And I said, no, my last name's Fleming. Don't call me Rackley. I'm not related. My mother's only just remarried before she moved here. So that's my mother's new, recently married new last name. I would tell that straight away. So no one would ever know me as any other last name, except for who I am, Fleming. Amanda wouldn't. Amanda was petrified of Carol. Absolutely petrified. So if anyone ever said, oh, Amanda Rackley, she would just stand there and let them do it. And I'm like, are you kidding me? I'm like, Amanda, are you going to tell them that's not your last name? She was petrified of my mother. Because one time, high school, I went up to reception and said, oh, no, you just in homeroom called me out the wrong name. The first day, I said, you should be going off my birth certificate. I'm 12, and I stood up to the reception and said, what have you got as my birth certificate? Fleming. I said, so I'm Fleming. Just because my mother's ID is Rackley, that's because she's just remarried. And they separated in 1994, my mother and her second husband. Like, my mother married him on the rebound. She's a loser. Seriously, my mother married the man who was born in the same hospital 1 week apart from my father. I kid you not. So yeah, but they're two very different people. My dad's a very lovely man. He's just grumpy in his old age. That's all you're going to get. Anyway, so I went up, and so there's all my documents are correct. It's all in Fleming. The only times there might have been an award that they wrote down correctly because they knew my mother, and it's like, well, I'll throw that award out. Like seriously, my twin sister didn't, because in high school there was a letter that went home and they actually had it addressed to Carol Fleming, and my mum went off her head. I'm like, I'll give her a rest. Like seriously, you were married to the Flemings, so your name at one stage was Fleming Carol. So give it a rest. You know, who cares? Like it's like I would stand up and go, I'm sick of this. Like she was a very abusive, horrible person, and so was her second husband. So Carol and her second husband are two ugly peas in a pod. Amanda never stood up, and I would stand there going, "Are you kidding me? Like you're just going to?" And so she's really kept. So then when this crap came out in 2013, I believed Amanda. Then with the crap that's come out since 2015. I don't believe her. Well, I believe the man in 2013 because I thought, oh, well, man has got no reason to lie to me, so okay, I'll believe her. But then in the last, I've started questioning things. With what started in the last 8 years, I started questioning it because I know how Christy Childs, my mother's niece, their bullshit stories, my mother's sisters, and I'm like, hang on a minute. Stop for a minute. Don't just believe what you hear. Think about their stories they have told their entire life. Like, you come out that you're gay and they're like, oh, maybe he was molested. That's what made him gay. I'm like, no, I'm gay. It's the way you're born. So, like, my mother's sisters are very, I'm going to say, low life, scummy, uneducated. Different to dad's side. So, in the last 8 years, I started questioning things and thought, hang on a minute. If they're really going off with like, there's this lie and there's this lie and these women just don't know how to tell the truth, I'm going to start questioning everything I've ever been told from them. Because I can base things on the last 8 years since 2015. I've watched my mother stand there with people and just lie. I was like, okay, I know you're lying. So, no. So I started questioning things. I thought, well, Amanda's always been petrified of Carol and will go along with anything Carol says. Amanda will also go along with anything that Marianne says. So I had to start questioning and go, I don't believe him. I honestly don't believe it. And then with what Christy Childs said in, was it July 2015? I was like, she was going to get, I kid you not, Christy Childs told me, this is my mother's, and they're deadbeat people. They're low lives. Oh, I can't stand them. They're just fucking losers of people. I really can't stand them. I've had a bit more to do with my dad's side than my mother's side. She goes in, was it July 2015, around that time? She goes to me, she was going to have hypnosis to tell her that she was molested. I'm there going, I kid you not. She said she was going to have hypnosis to tell her that she was molested. I'm like, are you kidding? And she's a drunk. Christy Charles is a real drunk. Hello. Like her mother. They're really deadbeats. Look at you smoke. And I'm there going, oh my God. Like I was embarrassed to think that who I was with was a complete stranger who overheard this as well. And I'm thinking, oh my God. So you don't know you have? Because no, I don't. But I probably have, but I just don't remember. So I'm going to have, this is what she's saying. I'm having hypnosis to tell me that I have. I'm like, wow, it is women like you. And so there's stories out of their mouth. I'm like, wow, this is weird. They are really creepy. And then they took things creepy to do with, they're just creepy. Look, I find it very creepy. I find them to be very uneducated, very low life. They're given jobs in that social work and disability that they should never be allowed to have, government jobs. I mean, Christy was a pub wench who poured beers at a pub that on a busy night would probably have 8, 10 people on a busy night. So that's what she's all good at doing. And then why she was at this pub, she studied online. She studied online to be a social worker. Online, not in class, online. And then got a job because her mother works in disability. Her mother is a drunken idiot that her main job was to groom dogs. And she got a job in disability because their deadbeat loser friend Jeff Burgess helped him get a job. There's all these little connections. And there's all these little lowlifes along a string of deadbeat people that they're all affiliated with. So there's not much, you know, truth. You got to look at them and think, oh God, these are some really lowy people. You know, to the point that, you know, stuff was said in the last, okay, 8 years about some really weird shit. That, you know, none of it's true. Like trying to make me out to be blonde, and it's like, man, I've always had naturally dark brown near black hair. I'm not blonde, although a lot of babies like myself and toddlers do have blonde hair, and I did as a toddler. So there's photos of myself and my twin sister. As a toddler, my hair was blonde. Look at that lump getting bigger. Sorry, straight about that. Yeah, so I did have blonde hair until until I grew up from being a toddler. And that's not here or there. That's, you know, Shane Childs. He's my mother's sister's son. He had blonde hair, and his sister had dark brown, close to black hair. So this is on my mum's side of the family. I had dark brown near black hair, and my twin sister had blondish, lightish brown hair. Growing up, like, literally, it's just the way it is. I mean, my dad's side, majority, there's blondes and there's black hairs. There's blondes and there's dark brown hair. Like, it's just weird. There is no, like, in my actual immediate DNA, there's no red hair. Although, I will say this, if you have naturally black hair, your undertone is red. The undertone to black is red. So if you the undertone to black is red in colour. So if you actually strip back someone that's got black hair, it's going to be red, which is why you'll see people that have black hair have red beards too. I knew an Italian guy that actually had a red beard. I know a lot of Italians that have red hair. Pino, John Cabino's cousin from Italy, he was red hair. He had red hair. But in my immediate family, there isn't. So, you know, in my extended family there is, but in my immediate family, it's blonde or dark brown near black hair. But, and I'm only being, like, saying, you know, really annoyed with what has been said now in the last 8 years, which has started making me question everything. Actually, please, mate, your breath. Oh, you're a cutie. Your breath is stinking. Oh no, oh, you cutie. You know, I started questioning everything. And look, I think if my mother's side were normal, when I stood up to them and said, "Are you, by the way, being lied about?" And let's forget about me trying to play a prank on certain people and so forth, and trying to get Stephanie DeSalis arrested, because I did. I was trying to get her arrested. But put all that aside, you know, if you go to your family members and go, you know, this is going on, I'm trying to get some lies corrected, it's going to cause me damage, you know, things are going to, you know, interact with my life in America. Anyway, and you don't get things, like, they're not willing to help you get it corrected, then you've got to look at them and think, yeah, you're a bit of a scammer, aren't you, you women, you three purdy women. And that's what I view it as. They should have been a little bit more forthcoming. And I'm very honest, like, I said to people, like I said to my ex-partner Johnny, after I became single and I was running around with some guy. I've always been gay, by the way, always been openly gay. I was openly gay in year 7. Since I started high school, I just come out that I was gay. So anybody knows me knows I've always been gay. Never been any different. So 12-year-old, I'm gay. And I was, oh my God, I'm gay. It didn't go down too well, but oh well, you know. 12-year-old running around, people ask me, yeah, no, I'm gay. Anyway, so, what was going out with that? There was something that went on. Okay, after I left my relationship, I was running around with complete strangers, and one of them felt so deliberate. I'm going to stop this at just after 20 minutes. One of them felt really deliberate, and I thought, okay, this weirdo that approached, because he actually approached me. This guy approached me in Reg Oval's side of Rushcos Bay Park in 2016, and I thought, yeah, this was deliberate. This is deliberately done. Let me see what I can get from this. Basically, meaning, like, what's this guy up to? Like, because he approached me and had information already to do with something to do with like to do with a guy that I had slept with before him, and I thought this is just too much of a coincidence. Anyway, and then I said to my ex-partner, so this guy's drugged me without my knowledge with a date rape drug called G. So G makes people like all aroused, it's supposed to, and frisky and whatever. And I actually said to, and look, Giovanni was like, oh, paranoid, whatever. I was like, no, this is weird. Put aside that I'm playing a prank on some people trying to catch them out. I felt that I had, unbeknown to myself, drunken and was drugged with a date rape drug called G. This was in 2016 and in 2017. I brought this up. It felt it was weird. There was weird things going on. And two people, Mark Hanna and Peter Fry, were the two that I thought did it. And then I started questioning. I was like, why? What are they up to? What's gone on? And I brought this up. Now, if you raise concerns like that, a normal family would actually be, hang on, like, do you really think? I was like, yeah, I did. And here's the situation that happened, and here's the reason why. That's what a normal family does. Although I seriously believe it was almost a deliberate attempt to make me look like I was mentally disabled, or there was something to make me look like a character of a person I'm not, for a scam. And I honestly do believe that. So I believe, and it doesn't. The reason it doesn't actually show up in toxicology reports. So this date rape drug, this G that I was drugged with, I'm pretty sure I was. It doesn't show up with toxicology reports. And I do honestly believe that it was to make me out, to make me look like a character of a person I'm not, for a scam. Now, and that's exactly what happened. And I think if you actually raise this concern to your own family member, a normal family member, a normal mother, a normal relatives will be just as concerned as you. Mine weren't. And I was like, okay. I raised, like, I'm moving into the new apartment building in December 2016, January 2017, and I really felt like, and I knew I was under surveillance at the time. There's a reason why. Monitoring surveillance, because somebody made up some story that they thought I was depressed or suicidal, and I kept saying I'm not. So I'm also getting harassed by some organisations at the time. So I thought, why now? These people came into my life with it was through, like, they're not people that I would affiliate with. It felt very much deliberate, and I've raised this concern with my ex-partner Giovanni and said I honestly feel like I was drugged on G. And that's what's, and I'm really concerned because I believe that it was done to make me look to be a character of a person I'm not. So what scam? What are these people up to? Now, I raised this concern, and my family wasn't as concerned as what I was. So that's made me question a lot of things as well. All right, I'm going to leave it there because I didn't want to go too much over 20 minutes with this video, and I'll upload that. But look, at least I can say I have done my part to get the truth told in the last 8 years since 2015. But I'm someone that's not going to back down. I won't have it damage my life in America. I worked hard in my life. I studied hard, and I got a green card to America. It's there's been a lot of damaging things happen to my life through no fault of my own since 2015, and I am by myself, like, on my own, trying to have it resolved. I have already asked people to help me have it resolved. I've asked solicitors to help me have it resolved. Nobody has, so I will just keep fighting myself and clear my name. And look, I'm hoping it's cost me a lot in damages already. In a right world, I should be reimbursed those damages, so I've got back what I already worked hard for. We don't live in a right world, so I'm not holding my breath there. I'm not holding my breath. As long as I clear my reputation so it doesn't affect me in America or in Australia, and I can keep moving forward with my life. But so it happens.